White smoke rises, bells ring. The crowd holds its breath. Then the words, Habemus Papam. We have a pope. But behind this iconic moment lies one of the most sacred and secret processes in the world. How does the Catholic Church choose the successor of St. Peter? And how has this process evolved over 2 millennia? From fishermen to cardinals, from Roman persecution to global live streams. Let's step into the timeless story of how the Church discerns her next shepherd. In 30 AD, Jesus didn't leave behind a constitution or a political plan. He left a man. You are Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church. Matthew 16:18-19. Peter became the first bishop of Rome, and the church's visible head on earth. Back then, bishops were chosen by local clergy and faithful, a spiritual consensus guided by prayer, not politics. Saint Cyprian even wrote that Pope Cornelius was chosen by the testimony of nearly all the clergy. A community discernment. From Peter to Pope Marcellinus died 304. This era was marked by simplicity, unity, and persecution.
But the church was growing, and so were the challenges. In 313, everything changed. Constantine legalized Christianity, and suddenly the church had emperors in her corner, and at her table. Some emperors began approving, even influencing, who could become pope. It reached a tipping point by the time of Emperor Justinian. So in 1059, Pope Nicholas II said enough. He issued in nomine domini a decree reserving papal elections to the cardinal bishops, cutting off imperial interference.
It was the first major push toward protecting the papacy from the pressures of earthly power. Fast forward to 1274. The church just went almost 3 years without a pope. The faithful were tired, the clergy were exhausted, and the cardinals were indecisive. The solution? The conclave. Cardinals were now literally locked in, conclave, with a key until they chose a new pope. This wasn't punishment. It was a sacred isolation.
A reminder, the papacy isn't a political prize, it's a divine mission. Then came the Western Schism, one of the darkest chapters in church history. In 1378, the election of Pope Urban VI spiraled into chaos. Multiple popes claimed legitimacy, unity shattered, Europe was torn. France supported one pope, Rome another. It took the Council of Constance, 1414 to 1418, to end the confusion, removing all claimants and electing Pope Martin V.
The message was clear. The church must speak with one voice through one shepherd. By the 1900s, the church was entering a new world: railroads, revolutions, and radio. And papal elections had to adapt. In 1903, Pope Pius X ended the veto rights of kings and emperors. No more political interference. The conclave was refined, secrecy protected, procedures clarified. Then came popes like John XXIII, Paul VI, and John Paul II, popes of the Council of the People of the World.
The papacy was no longer just Roman, it was global. In 2013, the world watched as white smoke rose once again. Then came a quiet greeting. Brothers and sisters, good evening. Cardinal Jorge Mario Bergoglio had become Pope Francis, the first Jesuit, the first Latin American, and a pope of firsts. He brought something new: humility, simplicity, a deep focus on mercy and the poor. His papacy was less about papal pomp, more about pastoral presence.
But with his passing in 2025, the Church once again returned to the sacred task of choosing Peter's successor. Here's what happens now. The College of Cardinals gathers in the Sistine Chapel. Only those under 80 years old vote, up to 120 electors. They begin with a mass, then enter seclusion. Ballots are cast in secret. 2/3 vote is required. And the world waits, watching the chimney. Black smoke, no decision. White smoke. A new pope has been chosen. The chosen cardinal is asked, "Do you accept your canonical election as supreme pontiff?" If he says yes, he chooses a papal name.
Then the curtain opens. The world sees the new vicar of Christ, and once again, Habemus Papam.
From Peter to Francis, from catacombs to St. Peter's Square, The election of a pope isn't just a tradition, it's a testimony to continuity, unity, and the promise that the gates of hell will not prevail.
Each conclave reaffirms that the Church, though ancient, is always being renewed. And as the white smoke rises again, we are reminded, the Church is alive, the Church is one, and the Spirit still speaks.